talking about power, carnal. The only way for us to gain real power is for black and brown to come together. ¿Me entiendes?
Just because you're a cop and I'm a con, doesn't mean we can't cooperate. I can give you tips from inside that can really help you out on the street. You got a lot of power out there.
The Pomona Progress Bulletin. Pomona, California. July 18, 1946, Thursday story found on page 1. Jury debates murder. Case against wife. A jury entered its third day of deliberation today, in the hammer-slaying murder trial of Mrs. Elvira Rojo, 30, to determine whether the housewife had a part in her husband's slaying. Joe Morgan, 16, who said he killed Jose Rojo, 51. At her insistence so their love affair could continue, will be sentenced following the trial of Mrs. Rojo. Mrs. Rojo testified, Morgan terrified her into being intimate with him, and killed Rojo without her knowledge. The San Bernardino County Sun. San Bernardino, California, July 24, 1946, Wednesday found on page 2. Youth who killed mistress husband. Given prison term. Joe Morgan, 17, who testified he was persuaded to kill Jose Rojo, 52, by Rojo's wife, Elvira, 32, today was sentenced to prison for 5 years to life. Superior Judge William R. McKay said, I am convinced that Mrs. Rojo was the actual culprit. She made love to this boy, and then persuaded him to kill her husband. I feel he deserves consideration for helping convict her. Mrs. Rojo, convicted of second-degree murder, appeared for sentencing today, but the case was postponed when a hearing on a motion for a new trial was set for July 30th. Morgan testified at Mrs. Rojo's trial, that he killed Rojo with a tire hammer September 15th. The Pomona Progress Bulletin. Pomona, California. July 31, 1946, Wednesday and found on page 8. Husband slayer sentenced. Mrs. Elvira Rojo, 34, convicted of second-degree murder in the death of her husband, Jose Rojo, 52, was sentenced yesterday to imprisonment from 5 years to life. Superior Judge Edward R. Brand imposed sentence after Mrs. Rojo's attorney withdrew a motion for a new trial. Joe Morgan, 16, who testified he beat Rojo to death with a hammer September 15th, at the solicitation of Mrs. Rojo, with whom Morgan declared he had been intimate, was given the same sentence last week. Mrs. Rojo accepted her sentence calmly, and asked that she be sent immediately to the Tehachapi Prison for Women. The Los Angeles Times. Los Angeles, California. July 31, 1946, Wednesday found on page 8. Wife sentenced in love killing. Convicted of inciting the murder of her husband, Mrs. Elvira Duran Rojo, 33-year-old mother of 2 children, yesterday was sentenced to the Tehachapi Prison for Women for a term of 5 years to life. Immediately after Superior Judge Edward R. Brand pronounced sentence, Mrs. Rojo asked that she be committed as quickly as possible. Convicted with her was Joseph Morgan, 16, who turned state's evidence, and told how he killed Jose Rojo, 52, last September 15th after Mrs. Rojo threatened to end her love affair with the youth, now serving 5 years to life in San Quentin. Morgan said Mrs. Rojo planned the murder, and described how he crept into the room where Rojo lay asleep, struck him on the head with a mallet, and later buried the body in a shallow grave near Seminole Hot Springs. Mrs. Rojo cleaned the room after the slaying and sprayed cologne about the house, the youth testified. Daily News. Los Angeles, California. Friday, September 13, 1946, story found on page 33. Titled, Mrs. Rojo prison bound for slaying. Mrs. Elvira Duran Rojo departed today for Tehachapi State Prison to serve a 5-year to life term for the murder of her husband, Jose. Natty in a two-piece gray suit with a white turban, the attractive 30-year-old woman had one brief statement to make: I'm going to be a good girl and try to get out on parole. She would be eligible for parole after serving 30 months. Mrs. Rojo was convicted of second-degree murder of her wealthy 52-year-old husband on July 18. Her accomplice in the crime, 16-year-old Joe Morgan, is under similar sentence. Testimony established that it was Joe who bashed Jose Rojo over the head, while his wife stood by. Then Joe dumped the body over a cliff in the Malibu Hills September 16 last year. Joe then moved in with the widow, who still bears on her thigh his tattooed initials. She declined to have similar needlework done to her chest and back. Ungallantly, Joe accused his inamorata of inciting him to slay her husband. She denied it, said she had submitted to Joe's ardent lovemaking because she feared he might harm her children, kill her. But Superior Judge William R. McKay, who presided at the murder trial of the youthful slayer, thought a jury which convicted Mrs. Rojo of second-degree murder should have given her the works. It was many months before Rojo's skeleton was found. Relatives in Mexico, alarmed over his disappearance, began a quiet investigation. It ended abruptly with Joe's confession. Deputy Sheriffs Paul Dodson Bettesworth and Ann Shockley took Mrs. Rojo to prison today, with 3 other girls convicted of robbery.
But the drugs, whoever controls them controls everything.
You ever seen an old drug dealer, Miko? They don't exist.
Look, all we have to do is wait.
In 5 years, Chicanos are gonna be the majority in the Pintas in the Southwest.
This is now, not 5 years from now. What good is it for a bunch of fucking slaves working for the BJ and AVers? We gotta attack now, we gotta take power.
Look, all we ever been doing is fighting each other. And for what? The best of us ending up in pools of blood. For a pinche peck of smokes and a snort of coca. Chale!
I don't know where you're coming from, girl.
Just because you're a cop and I'm a con, doesn't mean you can't cooperate. I can give you tips from inside that can really help you out on the street. You got a lot of power out there, man.
Little white Mexican boy came all the way back just to show us his stump. Come on, get off me, motherfuckers! Stay still, goddammit, I said! You gotta be crazy to pull this shit, lightning! Oh, I'm scared. But you didn't fight so hard when Big Al used to do this, did you? You must be laughing in his grave, cripple. Get off me, fuck! Oh, leave it alone! Stay still, goddammit! There she is. Fucking puta! You ever heard that old saying? Got your foot in your mouth? Spit shine that shoe, boy. You fucking full of bears are gonna pay, believe me! Go round, you half-breed.
Okay, salutations, and a clenched fist salute my outlaw renegades. Your boy the law-writing journalist hopes you social media outlaws are enjoying the Outlaws multi-part series on Joe Morgan. The Joe Morgan series will continue with a part 4, Joe Morgan's arrest for the suspected 1955 West Covina Bank robbery. The Outlaws multi-part series on Joe Morgan will continue, eventually leading to Morgan's connection to the murder of Cheyenne Cadena on December 17, 1972. Outlaw Posse, the Outlaw would like to ask you 3 simple questions before we end today's video. Also, the Outlaw's got a little surprise for you truth-seeking prison lore junkies today at the end of this video, so stick around and hit the like and sub to the Outlaw if you haven't. The surprise is nothing exclusive, but nevertheless a very interesting piece of paper. The Outlaw thinks you cyber renegades would enjoy listening to. So Outlaw renegades, the questions: first, ever since Mundo revealed Joe Morgan's secret snitch jacket past, Mundo has represented the notion as if the grassroots gang culture and streets created or even viewed Joe Morgan as some iconic gangster legend. Mundo has implied that we the urban street culture chose to worship false idols. The outlaw's question is Mundo right? Did we the grassroots urban street culture create the legend of Joe Morgan, the almighty white godfather of Chicano gangsters? Or is Mundo wrong, that in fact it was Mundo himself, others like Rene Boxer Enriquez, law enforcement gang experts, today's popular YouTube prison snitch influencers, with help from the mainstream media, who in fact were the instrumental individuals, who created the fabricated myth of Joe Morgan, the white king of brown criminals? Leave your thoughts below in the comment section, Outlaw Posse. Use your critical thinking beanies too. Don't just regurgitate what you heard from some snitch influencers. Okay, next question, Outlaw Renegades. Do you find it strange? No snitch influencers have done a reaction video, or at least spend a few minutes to discuss the damaging revelation. Morgan is really not some stand-up super gangster, but a rat instead. If it was some other individuals equally well known in the prison gang world, the outlaw thinks the snitch influencers would all be gossiping and dropping reaction videos. If it was someone like Cheyenne Cadena, the outlaw's positive the snitch influencers would have a field day dropping content. Drop them critical thinking opinions down below in the comments, my cyber vato locos. And the outlaw's final question: if Joe Morgan was not represented as the #1 iconic gangster legend among Southern California Chicano prisoners, better yet, if Morgan wasn't in the picture altogether, who would be the most likely to hold the position, or be seen as the iconic gangster influencer of Southern California, and really all Chicano prison gangsters? Rudy Cadena, Güero Buff, maybe Robot Salas? How do you think the overall history, and today's current times would have been affected? Would the prison and street gang culture be so self-destructive, which is fueled by drugs? Or do you think it would be less violent, and less internal chaos, or still the same? Would seeing another individual, who's actually a Chicano, and more focused on self-pride and identity, instead of flooding Chicano barrios with drugs, have a different effect, or even completely change the way gangsterism is viewed by the gangs of today, starting with the 90s generation of Chicano homies? Drop them like it's hot in the comments section. Please, the outlaw encourages you again to use your critical thinking beanies, no snitch influencers, or mainstream media regurgitated thoughtless opinions. Okay, outlaw renegades, you ready for that surprise? See or no? Well, the outlaw is going to end today with a 1973 letter written to one Joe Morgan, by a female friend, and legal aid, Linda Castro. The letter is no smoking gun, or some dirty sex letter, but towards the end please pay attention. Linda Castro will mention about a current situation Joe Morgan is involved with, and how Morgan's fellow Chicano prisoners are aware, plus concerned with Morgan's situation. Linda also makes several vague statements about Joe Morgan, and an unknown individual, who seems to be Cheyenne Cadena. Don't forget to drop those comments. And hit the like and sub buttons. Break free of the prison matrix, join the outlaw posse. Be a YouTube renegade. Venceremos.
Prison Law Collective. 558, Cap Street, San Francisco, California, 94110. Phone number, 415-282-3983. January 8, 1973. Mr. Joseph Morgan. Booking number, 2174432. P.O. Box 54, 320, Terminal Annex, Los Angeles, California, 90054. Dear Joseph, I am so anxious to see you again. I need the strength and support that you give me. At the same time, I hope I am of some help to you, as I know what all this means to you, and the loss which you feel. My struggles around the good brother continue, but I know that we will win. Your words stay with me always and reinforce the determination which always keeps me driving. I understand completely the feelings between you and him, and why, and feel that I am a part of that understanding. I am sorry I fell back a bit and apologize for failing to send you the information regarding the lawyers down there sooner. I have learned from the brother not to make excuses, only to correct the situation. Here are the names: Luke, 6430, Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles. Telephone 466-7331, or 466-8226, Carol Smith, 2212, Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles, telephone 487-4262. Both of these people I have talked with about you, and know basic facts, and will come see you, if you decide to get in touch with them. Both come highly recommended by people I know and trust. I speak with the brother way up north. He has constant concern for you, and always sends his best to you. Everybody has an understanding of the trial situation. I received your lovely card, which did much to elevate my spirits. I miss you terribly, and hope to see you very soon. Remember that I am here if you need me. Con cuidado. Linda Castro, Legal Assistant. Write me soon, love.